How do you see things playing out over the next couple of months here? We've been talking longer term. Let's start focusing a little shorter term in terms of the markets. And we haven't said anything about Europe. I know you don't travel to Europe that much, but obviously it's been a center of attention for quite some time now because of the Greek situation as well as the other periphery Euro countries. Let's start with the Euro. What are your thoughts there?
Well, I've long said that the dollar is an IOU nothing on the part of a bankrupt government, but the euro is even worse. It's a who owes you nothing on the part of a bunch of bankrupt governments that won't take responsibility for it. So that's very bad, what's going to happen to the euro. And Europe itself is highly problematical. It's constipated, it's socialized, it's highly taxed, highly regulated. It has the wrong philosophical values. It's been going downhill since World War I. Europe is going to be no more than a petting zoo for the Chinese. It's going to be a source of maids and houseboys for them. So Europe is a write-off as far as I'm concerned. That's not even counting the demographic collapse that they're experiencing, except among the Muslim population, which is not integrating with the rest of Europe. And that's a potential sociological time bomb. So I'm very bearish on all of Europe, actually.
The euro will break up?
Oh, that's unquestionable that it's going to happen. And they talk about, should we bail Greece out, should do this, that, the other thing. The only answer for Greece is just what I said I'd do for the U.S. Sure, they should default on that debt, okay? The thing with defaulting, a government defaulting on its debt, is you got to remember the real wealth in the world still exists. The buildings and the technologies and the skills that people have, that doesn't vanish. It just changes ownership. But like I said, I think the people that have financed the government and should be punished, and the people that are burdened by it should be relieved of it. So yes, but that only works, as I said, if you radically cut back the scope of government in addition in all ways. And that's what should happen. That's the solution for Greece. Now, are they going to do it or not? I don't know. Those people are so used to getting something for nothing and living off the fat of other people's land. I don't know what's going to happen in Greece, quite frankly. Mm-hmm. Or the other countries that are going to follow it, Italy and Spain and France, too.
Earlier on when we were talking about the Greater Depression, you said there's going to be some dramatic changes. Is default by governments throughout Europe going to be part of that dramatic change? Because it's not just Greece that's in trouble. Italy doesn't have the financial capacity to repay its debts. Spain's questionable. The banking system throughout most of Europe is insolvent. And actually what's true in Europe is also true in the United States. There's no way the U.S. is ever going to repay its debt, as we were discussing. So is government default, do you think, going to be part of that element that you see as dramatic change in the Greater Depression?
Well, actually, I hope so. I actually hope so. But I think it's going to go way beyond just government default, because most of the countries in the world are artificial constructs. This is even true in Europe. I mean, when Czechoslovakia broke up into the Czech Republic and Slovakia, it was peaceful and inevitable and the shape of things to come. When the Soviet Union broke up into 13 countries, but Russia itself should break up into several more. It's an artificial empire, hodgepodge. Yugoslavia broke up. The same could happen to regions of the oldest countries in Europe that have been together. France, could happen in Spain with the Basques. It could even happen in the UK with the Welsh and the Scots. I wouldn't doubt that as the going gets tough, a lot of countries which are held together with chewing gum and baling wire, including absolutely every place except for Egypt and Ethiopia. In Africa, they're not real countries at all. I mean, Libya where the war is going on. That's going to turn into a long-lasting civil war, and it likely is going to break up into several countries. All these countries, the Congo and Angola and Nigeria, none of them are real countries. They were drawn in the boardrooms of Europe, and the same is true all through Asia. It's all through the Middle East. So this is a real problem.
There are, I think, 150 countries in the world or something like that, but as I understand it, there's something like 450 languages. So your implication is that people are going to form more government based on language and the cultural and traditional associations rather than borders drawn by colonial powers, decades ago.
Exactly. Sharing a piece of government ID with somebody called a passport doesn't mean that you have anything in common with them at all. As a matter of fact, chances are that your fellow citizen in some nation state, chances are better that he's going to be your enemy than some guy living in Turkmenistan, because the guy living in the US or Australia, chances are, he's living off of your taxes. He's an active danger to you. He's voting for some politician that wants to make your life restricted and miserable. So I don't see that in the future people will see their so-called countrymen as people they have anything in common with. This is the great thing about the internet. It's that it lets you find out who your countrymen really are in the world. And I can promise you, I've got a lot more in common with people in the Congo that I don't share the same language with, I don't share the same religion, the same culture or background, but on things that I consider important, which are personal philosophy and personal ethics, I got a lot more in common with them than I do with the people that live in the trailer park down the street from me in Aspen. Or for that matter, my rich neighbors that live on Red Mountain in Aspen. I don't have anything in common with either one of them. So I think that in the future, nation states are likely to cease to exist and are going to be replaced by groups of people that find themselves around the world based upon whatever is important to them, whether it's business, philosophy, religion, hobbies, could be 1,000 different things.